Hey mates, Blind Prime here, and I'm going to talk to you about accessibility devices. Later this week, we will be talking about Megatron tomorrow in the More Than Meets the Eyes robot review video, and I am ecstatic. I'm so happy to be able to bring you Megatron. He's so cool. I've spent the entire weekend learning his transformation, and I think I've gotten it down, so I am ready and excited to bring it to you this week. So I hope that you are sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for that to happen. Another update, I completely screwed up the name of Slipstream. It's not Slipstream, and I have immediately forgotten the name again. I don't know what's up with that guy's name, but for some reason I have some weird mental block about it. It doesn't click for me. It's always clicked Slipstream for me for some weird reason, and it's not him, but for some weird reason, that's what's going on in my head. I don't know why. That's just a weird thing with a name, and I just got no explanation for you. And I'm sorry about that. I intend to change the titles of the videos to be the correct name. It's not Slipstream. It's like Sky Straight? No, Sky? No, God darn it. I'm not even going to try and guess. So those are two things that I wanted to mention to you that are happening. I totally screwed up a name last week, and that's my bad. It happens sometimes. I call them blind people problems because, what am I going to do? Look at a box. Of course, I did look it up online, and for some reason, I also came across a review where someone was calling it Slipstream, and so that definitely did not help in the confusions part of things. So that will be fixed momentarily. Thank you to everyone who mentioned it. I really appreciate you for mentioning it. I wish somebody had mentioned it earlier before I had finished the third video in the series. That would have been helpful. But hey, look, future reference. If you're a subscriber of mine and you see that I screw up something, be bold. Be valorous. Just say something. Trust me, I'm not going to be mad at you. I'm not going to nerd rage or anything like that. I'm probably going to laugh at myself. More often than not, I'm going to laugh at myself. And then I'm going to fix the problem. So, excuse me. So, if you could please do that, that would be awesome. I really appreciate all of you for doing that. And it is difficult making a YouTube channel completely blind with barely any assistance from sighted people at all. And your support really goes a long way to giving me the strength, mentally to do this. Because trust me, there are some days where I'm just like, I feel so stupid. I feel so dumb. And then I think, this other person called me a legend the other day in my comments. I'm going to move on. I'm going to keep going forward. I'm going to keep doing this. So I appreciate all of you for that. Letting me know what's going on, telling me when I screw up. Those are things I invite. I invite constructive criticism like that. I invite corrections like that because that's how we learn and that's how we grow. So help me learn, help me grow, correct me when I'm wrong. And I promise you, I will do my best not to get mad. Okay, so today's video is about accessibility technologies. We did a little short video a couple of weeks ago talking about the new accessibility device brought to you by Dolby. Ooh, Dolby surround sound. And whenever I heard Dolby, I was like, ooh. We may actually get some really good audio. Like, that would be amazing if the audio in the headphones was actually three-dimensional. So, if a character's off to the left-hand side of the screen talking, you hear the audio description of what they're doing on your left ear, and then your right ear could have some audio description talking about what somebody else is doing. Because, a lot of us, at least me, I can follow two separate forms of conversation so long as they're not too engrossing. And a description isn't too engrossing. So that was something I was like, ooh, that sounds intriguing. That sounds interesting. And, this is, of course, after I got the product. I was thinking to myself, when the guy said it was brought to you by Dolby, before he passed it to me, those 3 seconds before he passed it to me, those were my thoughts for those 3 seconds. And then he passed it to me. And I completely changed all of my tunes because my first thought was, what what is this? Just all caps lock, exclamation mark, question mark, exclamation mark, question mark, WTFFF. Just what the, WTEFF, at the ever loving is this shit? All right? That is not cool. And I'm going to get into today why the accessibility device at the Regal Cinemas is not an accessibility device at all. It is just a hampering device for us, and it lowers our independence, and it lowers our mental fortitude. It is not a good device for the disabled. And why is it not a good device for the disabled? Because it has been designed with the disabled in mind, but no disabled person was brought in to be to talk to during the design process. And that was wrong. That's something that I'm always constantly fighting against on this channel and bringing your attention to, is the fact that many accessibility devices out there in this world are designed and built by the perfectly able who have an idea of what it's like to be disabled. It's like somebody building a really nice ramp to get into their building, but forgetting to put a ramp between the street and the curb. It's like, oh, cool, that's a wonderful ramp. I like your grips. I like everything you got on that ramp. But how is the person in the wheelchair supposed to get to the ramp? And they didn't think about that because they never think whenever they step from the street to the curb. It's just a step to them that isn't even registering in their heads because they're not disabled. They don't think about these things unless they are told to, unless they are taught to. And this is why I want to talk about the device today, because it's an obvious example of an accessibility device that was not well thought out. And for number one, the biggest reason why I do not like it is because it lowers my independence. I have to have my sighted guide utilize it inside the movie theater before I can handle it. So I will first walk you through the steps of it, and then we'll talk about my dislikes and what I believe could be fixed. But the second thing I don't like about it, and it's the biggest reason next to the first one, which is why it makes it the second, of course, is that it's a screen. It is a big cell phone screen. So it is it's a big screen, and you have to be able to communicate. Not communicate. You have to be able to look at the screen to see things. But one of the reasons I go to the movie theater, and I'm pretty sure many other people go to the movie theater for this reason as well, is it's one of the few places where cell phones aren't allowed. You don't take your cell phone out. We shut our cell phones off in here. We are separate from the world outside. We're not sitting in this chair behind a screen, looking at a screen. We are looking at a screen, and that is existence for us, is that one screen, because we get so much looking at two screens in our lives, and it's nice to take a break, go to the theater, and only have one screen to deal with. It's so wonderful sometimes. It's glorious. So, this thing is a screen. And now, you're sitting behind a screen in the movie theater. The one thing I never wanted to do in the movie theater. The one thing I thought the movie theater never wanted anybody doing in the movie theater. Because, that screen is pretty bright. And so, if you set it up, and you don't flip it upside down, and you want to be a complete dick, you can just keep it on its 2-foot tall pole, pointed at the audience behind you, so that they have this big flashlight kind of pointed backwards at them, ruining their experience for the movie. Did I do that? No, because I'm not an asshole. But still, I thought about it, because I really was mad at Regal Cinnima. And I was like, if I do it like this, then I can actually just annoy everybody in this theater, and then they'll file complaints. But I'm too nice of a person to do that. So I figured out how to disassemble the machine and put it on my little bedside, the little table that they give you. Why do they give you a table now? I don't know. We get a table so that we can play, we can access our coloring books during the movie theater or something. I don't freaking know. Build a Lego set during the movie? Actually, anybody out there who hasn't recorded themselves building a Lego set during a movie theater movie, do it, please. Yeah. Do it and tag me in it. I want that. You bring in a small, you bring in the McLaren, the Formula One race car. That's a small set that's easy to build, and you can hide. That would be fun. Okay, so let me go through the device and how it works so that you understand what I'm talking about. And then we can get into some of the other things about this device that I'm just angry about. Yeah. All right. So the device works by taking the little bitty rectangle that used to be the enhanced audio device and the audio description in the enhanced audio description device, and they put it into a phone. So this device weighed 3 ounces maybe. It was super light. It was super thin. You had a couple of raised buttons that had Braille on them. You could be able to, as the blind person, find your way around this device. And it wasn't really much to find. You hit the on button, you hit the volume up, you hit the volume down, you unplugged and plugged in your headphones. Wow, it was so difficult. I loved it. I adored it. You know, I went on trips where I would spread the word about Regal Cinema's audio description device and how much I adore it. I got the National Federation of the Blind behind me when it came to this device that Regal Cinema put out years ago. So they also had a second accessibility device, and that second accessibility device was for individuals out there who have difficulty reading. Not difficulty reading, difficulty hearing. And it is a closed caption glasses. They were a little bulky, and I did hear some complaints about them, but I figured, they were just going to figure out a way to make them better. And technology's improving. They had, the device they gave the blind, pinnacle stuff right there. The device they gave the closed caption people needed a little more work. It needed a little more work, but it was almost there. I could tell. Friends who use that device, who use the closed caption glasses, tell me that it was really fun because the words would appear above the characters' heads while they were talking. They could follow things very well. They didn't ever need to look from the camera at all, or the screen at all. They were engrossed in the movie, and they had no problems with it. They actually loved it more than closed captioning at home, because closed captioning at home always puts the words at the bottom of the screen. So for them, this was actually a better experience than at home. And that's what we want from the movie theater. If we're going to go and pay to go watch this movie, we want an experience that is better than the experience we get at home. Isn't that what we all want from our movie theaters? I want that from Regal Cinema, but I'm not getting that from Regal Cinema anymore, especially with $18 movie tickets. But we're not even talking about that gross number. No, we're not even discussing that number. That number isn't even coming up this episode, except right now where I can point to that number and go, I hate that number, but we're not talking about that number today. Okay? So, back to the accessibility device. That was the closed caption glasses. They were really, really amazing. Now, for some reason, these people at Regal Cinema, whoever bought Regal Cinema, because I'm assuming Regal Cinema was just purchased by an overall corporate overlord and has decided to make decisions without informing anybody or even, asking any disabled people if they would like these decisions. So let me get into the accessibility device now. The device made without any conversations with disabled people. Let's see, what did the completely able-bodied person come up with? Ooh, they came up with a cell phone that's like 7 inches long. It's by 4 inches wide, by a half an inch thick, that weighs a solid pound. And even though for Android systems, accessibility technologies exist to bring you audio, text-to-speech software, it's this software that tells you what's on the screen. Isn't that a wonderful software? It's a software you can find in most Android devices, most iPhone devices, most PC devices, most devices out there in the world have done this beautiful technology called text-to-speech. Some call it a text-to-speech engine because they like to give it a little bit of an engineering quirk. And I like text-to-speech. I can't make this YouTube channel without text-to-speech. Text-to-speech is kind of the cornerstone of my life right now. Everything sits on it. Everything requires text-to-speech. But what doesn't require text-to-speech, you may ask? Why the accessibility device they give you at Regal Cinnima? No text-to-speech available there. Oh no! So, as a disabled person, my independence of the movie theater went from about up here, which is, for able-bodied people, their independence is up here. But mine's about here. Higher than a child, lower than an 18-year-old, okay? They cut it down to child-level independence by doing that. Because without that text-to-speech engine, I require a sighted assistant to utilize that device. So, I will tell you now what the general manager at Regal Cinnima told me on how to use this device. And I'll let you know, they at first told my sighted assistant how to use this device. And as a disabled person, I'm used to people explaining something to me by looking at my sighted guide. And I'm getting a little upset. Yeah, no, bite my nose. Don't bite my nose. No. So I'm used to people who are trying to be helpful communicating to me through my sighted guide. I don't know what that is. But some people just can't stand to look at a blind person or a disabled person. And I know that may not be true, but I'm letting you know what's running through my head. As it perceives to me, in that moment, it perceives to me, from my perspective, that person does not like communicating with disabled people. They make them uncomfortable and they refuse to communicate with them. Now, is that true? No, that's just how it looks from my perspective. From the blind person's perspective, that's what goes through my head. And I'm in my late 30s now. I'm done with that nonsense. So when I hear somebody doing something like that, going down that path, I step in and I interrupt their conversation. And I'm like, excuse me, sir. I'm going to be the one, I do this to the general manager. I go, excuse me, sir, I'm going to be the one utilizing that accessibility device. So I would prefer it if you would inform me about the way that accessibility device works. My sighted assistant will not be the one using that accessibility device. Please talk to the disabled person when handing an accessibility device to a disabled person. And he explained something that shocked me. Because I'm thinking he's just going to give me the stupid rectangle. And I just want the stupid rectangle and want to live. And I love the stupid rectangle. No. He explains, sorry, I'm explaining this device to your sighted assistant because you will not be able to use it. Did you say I was not able to use an accessibility device? Are we on Mars? What's going on? Hi, Blind Prime, Planet Earth here. What's going on? So, he explains that this accessibility device, when he gets in the movie theater, my sighted assistant will require to click on the movie theater that I'm going to, and then in that movie theater, click on either closed caption, enhanced audio with audio description, or audio description. And I'm like, well, that's a lot for one device. He's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm like, doesn't sound it. And he explained they're gonna have to hit the audio description, and you have to plug in your auxiliary port, your headphones before he hits audio description. Okay. All right. Yeah, you just took away some of my independence. And so I gave him some flack. I was like, what the hell is this in my hand? And he hands me this pole that's this long. It's this thick. It is almost an inch in diameter. And it has a little grippy in it. It's a bendy wire pole that weighs about 2 pounds, 1.5 to 2 pounds. And it's got a 1 pound device screwed to the top of it. And it's got a screw down here that you put in the cup holder, and you rotate this screw and you lock it in the cup holder. And I went, you put it in the cup holder? Where will my drink go? And there's a cup holder on the other side. I went, but where is that person's drink going to go? There's a cup holder on the other side of them. Where's that person's drink going to go? There's a cup holder. Yeah. It's going to go all the way down. You saying that I'm actually going to interrupt the entire row of cup holders with this? I'm going to use 2 cup holders? What? Did not understand that isn't really a polite thing to do in the movie theater. And this is a young kid. This guy's like maybe 20. So I get it. He doesn't get it. And he's experiencing the new way movie theaters are done, where customer service, they wrapped customer service in a big bow. They tied him up really well. They took him off in a helicopter. They tied something around his neck, and they kicked customer service out the helicopter door. And they just stood there hovering until customer service stopped kicking. That's what I believe. Modern customer service. That's what happened to it. Got taken out in a helicopter. So this guy just doesn't get it. And he's like, well, yeah, there's just nothing wrong with that. And I went, but dude, the other people aren't really going to like that. And besides, what if I want to use that cup holder? He's like, well, you got to use the cup holder for the device. That's the way it works. I tell him, look, this thing is heavy, man. I know some of the blind people, we're of appropriate age. We don't have any problems, but other blind people are really elderly, and this is really heavy. Where am I supposed to carry this? It's too bulky to put in a bag. It doesn't have a strap, so I can't fling it over my shoulder. I have to carry it in a hand, but I was going to carry my popcorn in that hand. And now I can't carry my popcorn in that hand. I could carry my popcorn in the hand I have my cane in, but then how would I see? So ask me, I'm like, how do I carry this to the movie theater? He's like, get your sighted guide to do it. Okay, cool. Yeah, my sighted guide is just becoming the freaking donkey. Huh? Yeah, you want my sighted guide to be a donkey now. You just carry everything for me. Just chip away at my independence. Just chip. So I explained to him about how this is a stupid device. This is a heavy device. This doesn't make any sense. I could brain a donkey with this device. I went off on him about that device. And of course, I'm also a nicer person. And I explained, look, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you, Mr. General Manager. I am mad at your company, Regal Cinnima. I am mad that this company changed what I consider to be the best accessibility device I've come across in my lifetime into one of the worst accessibility devices I've come across in my lifetime. I'm putting this one up there with push-button handicap doors as the most obscene handicap device ever made. So we get to the movie theater, and this is where I really start realizing, because I put it into the movie theater thing. Of course, we stop, and I make a video, and that's where you saw the video last week. You saw me stop. I inadvertently gave that phone to an employee, because this person was like, "Yo, having a good day?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm having a day. I need to record a YouTube video. Here's my camera. I put it on record. Just point it at me, please. I'm going to do the rest." And he was just like, "Wait, what am I doing?" And then I started recording because, when I'm upset, I don't, politeness kind of goes out the window. And I got that video recorded there and then. And I went out into the movie theater. I hooked up the device in the cup holder. I realized that it was just shining in the face. It would be shining in the face of everybody behind me. And that wasn't cool. That wasn't nice. And then I found out that it had a bendy wire, because I didn't realize it was a bendy wire inside the lobby of the place. I realized the bendy wire was whenever we put it in the cup holder, and that's when it clicked. This device's bendy wire allows you to put the device in front of you so that if you are a closed caption person, you can look at the device and read the closed captions, and then look at the screen and follow the action, and then look down at the device and read the closed captions, and then look at the screen and follow the interaction. Focus on the screen, focus on the device, focus on the screen, focus on the device, focus on the screen, focus on the device, focus on the screen, focus on the device. Yeah, because that sounds like it's going to be fun for anybody who needs closed captioning. That sounds like the exact opposite of what those cool glasses were. Because those cool glasses seem like they were the best thing in the world. But now you're telling the people out there with bad ears that they need to look away from the action on the screen to read the phone? You need them to read a screen that's bent as a wire in front of them so they can stare at it and be behind two screens at a movie theater. That is messed up. That is messed up. That is worse than the home experience. Because at least with the home experience, when there's closed captioning, it's at the bottom of the screen. In this way, you've just got the closed captioning on your phone, and you're following along by looking at your phone occasionally. And that's going to give you a headache. That's going to give you eye strain. That's not going to make you relaxed. That's not going to calm you down. That's not going to allow you to enjoy the movie theater experience. You're going to be taken out of that experience every time somebody says something, and you have to refocus your eyes on a stupid GD screen. A screen that shouldn't be in there, because movie theaters should only have one screen in them. The big giant screen that we're all looking at together. There should not be another screen operating in that movie theater unless somebody is doing something wrong and trying to, record the movie. And that needs to be stopped. But people can get away with recording the movie now by just saying, oh, it's just the accessibility device. I'm not recording anything. Continue recording. Yeah. Did you think about that, people? You're bringing a phone in. Do the ushers know exactly what the accessibility device phone looks like? Or do they just assume phone is phone? Or are they going to assume all phone is accessibility device now and ignore all people recording the movie? You didn't think about this, did you, Regal Cinnima? You really didn't look further than tomorrow. No, they made a deal. And they got a lot of money for that deal. And that's what's going on here. And that's a shame that happened. This accessibility device is not an I should be considering it a dis-accessibility device. An unaccessible device? Yeah, an unaccessible device. This unaccessible device is a piece of trash and is not worth. It's not worth it. I even told Regal Cinnima I'm not going back to the movie theater until you fix this. I want to go see Naked Gun for a second time, but I'm not going to, because all the theaters here in town are Regal. And if one Regal's got it, they all got it. And that's a shame, because it was an amazing piece of technology. The accessibility device that Regal Cinnima had before was the pinnacle. Like I said, even the National Federation of the Blind got behind this accessibility device. That's how good it was. That's how easy it was for us to operate. That's how independent we felt at the movie theater. An independence I can no longer have because I can no longer go to the movie theater by myself. I now require a sighted guide every time, not just a person to take me to the door. But this has also been happening with the fact that there's numbered seats. Now I can't just walk into a movie theater as a blind person and just sit my happy tail down somewhere. No, because somebody's going to show up and they're going to tell me, you're in my seat. Man, my seat has this number on it and you're in mine. And I want you to move to another seat. Let me see your ticket and I'll help you move to your seat, because this is my seat. I paid for this. I chose this seat. And I hate that. I grew up 30 years of my life just choosing what seat I want in the movie theater. If you wanted a good seat at the movie theater, you arrived early to the movie. We would arrive 20 minutes early to the movie sometimes, so we would have a good seat. We would be in there chatting and hanging out and throwing popcorn at each other, having fun, because we got there early to pick the good seats. You took that from us. But I'm not talking about the seat numbering, and I'm sorry, that does upset me, because that was another thing that took my independence from me. As a blind person, I don't know where my seat's at anymore, and everybody yells at me, because every time I go in there by myself, I always sit in the wrong seat, and then somebody's always got a problem, and they're never nice about it. They're never like, oh, hey man, I'm so sorry, but I think you got my seat, and I think maybe somebody else got yours. I noticed you're blind, Kane. Would you like some help? I could totally help you, man. And I'd be like, yo, could you just go sit in my seat? I'm kind of comfortable here. And then they could go like, you know what, man? I got you. Yeah, you're good. Because it isn't like you're paying extra for these seats. And I'd get it. Like if you were paying for the central row, center seats, and those were $50 because those were the best seats in the house. All right, yeah, I get you. But all the seats cost the same amount. Get over yourselves. All right? We don't need to be fighting over seats in a movie theater. That's asinine. That's stupid. Back to the accessibility device. So, in conclusion for today's video, because I have blathered on a bit, this is just another example of people designing accessibility devices that they when the design process occurs, they never think to call a disabled person and go, do you think this is a good idea? If they had, we wouldn't have had this device. Because I'm pretty sure a person with bad, with bad hearing who likes closed captioning would have immediately poo-pooed this device, because even though the glasses were a little bulky, the glasses were still better. The glasses still helped you more as a person who required closed captioning. Now that you've put the closed captioning device in amongst the blind device, you have inadvertently created a device the blind can't use. And an accessibility device the blind can't use is an unaccessible device. And an unaccessible device can get ADA called. This is the one thing I don't like about the future. I love the future. I love the cool things that the future can bring, but sometimes the future can bring really stupid things. And I don't want this to become the push-button handicap door. I don't want this to become everywhere. I want to fight this one. I want to make sure this one dies at the end of this year, because that device needs to die at the end of this year. That device doesn't need to exist anymore by the end of this year. We can't let this device go on, or we'll get more of them everywhere, and then we'll lose them more independence. Because I don't know about the rest of you, but those push-button doors absolutely drive me mad as a blind person, because just you wonder, why does a blind guy don't like? Ask yourself the question, how do I find that button if I'm blind? And how do I find which movie theater I'm in on a smartphone that doesn't have text-to-speech engine without using a sighted guide? The point is to gain independence. The point is to go boldly forward on our own, not be dragged by a sighted guide. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I hope that I've been able to help you out. It was a bit chaotic, but I've been Blind Prime, and this has been my co-host, Cream Cat. You're a good Cream Cat. You're a good Cream Cat. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next Prime, when we talk about Megatron, bye-bye for now.